Okay, so tonight a bit of the talk and perhaps some uh, questions, questions regarding the whatever's the talk or the practice earlier today. So before we start, maybe share a bit about this mindfulness first, because that's the factor, first factor of awakening. First factor of awakening. So there are these four foundation of mindfulness. Four foundation of mindfulness. So there are four things we're supposed to be mindful about. So the first one is mindfulness of the body. Yeah? And the second one is mindfulness of feelings. And the third one is mindfulness of mind states. And the fourth one is mindfulness of the, they say Dhamma, actually phenomenon. Some people translate as mental qualities. So you just know this mindfulness of the Dhamma. So there are four things to look out for. Four things. So earlier on in our practice, we talk about this feeling the sensation, right? Feeling the sensation. Why don't we straight away think of the image and think of the all beings and stuff like that? If you try to imagine a certain scenario, very easy for the mind to drift off and start to create stories. Try to create movie already. You your own script, create very creative, better than AI. Yeah, better than AI. Create all the stories, everything very fast, faster than AI. So we are not trying to do that. So we have a safeguard. We have safeguard. So we have this thing called mindfulness of the body. So foundation, some kind of evidence, some kind of evidence. So we use this evidence-based approach. We have this thing called the four elements. Four elements. So these are the earth, fire, wind, water elements. So in the mindfulness of the body category, there are already 6 types of this mindfulness of the body. Anybody know? Okay, there's mindfulness of breathing, mindfulness of your 4 postures, standing, sitting, walking, lying down. Mindfulness of all your activities. That means when you're eating, when you're talking, when you are turning, moving, whatever you do. So that is the third one, all activities. So some people will say, I got no time to meditate. No time to meditate. But actually every moment is an opportunity to meditate. It's not about sitting nicely or sit like Buddha statue. Then that is meditation. No. Outside of the formal sitting, it's still your, how do you call it? It's still the mind. The mind is still working. It's not like the mind is switched off after meditation. Only when you're meditating, then the mind is on. No. Right? The mind that you use to meditate is more or less the same habitual tendencies when we work outside. In our daily activities, if we are, let's say, a very control freak, very angry person, very control freak, very selfish, and in your meditation, it will manifest. It will be the same. It will be the same. Let's say a person wants to watch the breath, control freak, then control, frustrated, and you see the face like constipation like that. Because they always controlling. It's the same habit. Whatever you react in your daily circumstances, you habitually react the same way. So what we're doing is slowly trying to reprogram the mind, trying to change the philosophy in a micro setting first. Then we slowly apply in our daily life. So for example, like this loving kindness, Some people can get angry the whole day, right? Yeah, or angry like most of the time. Then we just do the opposite lah. Loving kindness is reverse only, ma. But easy to say lah. So need training, So we need to keep on inputting the program, keep on wishing all beings well and happy and whatever not, right? So it's a training. So in all postures, all activities. And the fourth one, mindfulness of the impurities of the body. So we'll cover this tomorrow. Then the fifth one is these four elements, and the sixth one, the various bodily decomposition processes on stages of bodily decomposition. Okay, so the reason I bring up this mindfulness of the body is that we have something to base on. Something to base on. Yeah, we have something solid. But interestingly, whatever we pay attention to, it's still the five clinging aggregates. Five clinging aggregates. So we are linking to the Dhamma already, mindfulness of phenomenon. I don't want to go one by one. I try to link and make you all see the bigger picture. It's all related. It's not like, okay, mindfulness of the body is one thing that is not related to Dhamma. So some people think, mindful, I think of the hair, think of the nails, and think of the skin. It's just the body only. Where got Dhamma? No Dhamma. Doctor also can do that. Surgeon also can think of the body, right? Partially true. Doctors and surgeons can think of the parts of the body better. And they can think better than us. But there's a reason why we meditators do this practice. Like for example, so now I'm going to bring to the Zen tradition. I'm going to slightly shift example. I would commonly use this Zen master. He wrote a poem. He wrote 3 lines. Maybe most of you have heard before. 看山是山, see mountains as mountains. So that's the first line. And the second line, see mountains as not mountains. And the third line, see mountains as mountains. So at first when I look at this poem, I was thinking, what talking you? What are you talking about? So actually these 3 lines actually talks about our cultivation, our progress. It's an evolution. For example, before we learn meditation, before we learn Buddhism, we perceive things like most normal people perceive things, right? For example, I don't know, maybe this screen looks high class, looks expensive, looks high tech, or maybe good brand or whatever it is. Wow, this antique, ancient, so magnificent, so nice. So when you see mountains as mountains, so majestic, so beautiful. Normal way of seeing things. So we normally react or give in to greed and anger. So that's a normal way of seeing things. So that's the first line. See mountains as mountains. But when you start to practice Dhamma, when you really want to practice, then you start to, for example, a person got meditation object already. For example, some people see other beings in terms of the human biology, 32 parts. Maybe you start to see people as skeleton, for example. Then you see the people not beautiful or ugly or good looking or what. Everything is skeleton, skeleton. So the desire no more there. The perception desire is no more there. You're actually stunning the perception. You're stunning the habitual perception. Or if you start to learn everything is made of the 4 elements. Or this thing, earth element, maybe got some oil or whatever, right? Oil stain, water element, something like that. So you perceive things differently. You're kind of not too attached on the brand or the how high-end the product. You see things as 4 elements. Or those who knows engineering, you break up the mentally break up, all the components, what the gears and screws and the electronic parts, then you're no longer as fascinated as before. Yeah, no longer as fascinated as before. So you kind of stun the perception. If you see everything as 4 elements, or if you see things as 5 aggregates, 5 aggregates: form, feeling, perception, mental formation, consciousness. It's just a perception. I call this a TV. My feelings change. I like this screen. Now I don't like the screen. And different lighting, very bright. So you have different perception. You kind of stun your sort of perception, kind of desire. So that's the second phase. See mountains as not mountains. So normally if we let the mind autopilot, we let the mind just do nothing, what will happen is the mind will continue its habitual tendencies, habitual kind of desire, habitual desire. So when a person practices, they have to intentionally keep on replacing the perception. The intention, every moment, replacing. Once you don't replace, come back to normal, back to square one. Wow, mountain is majestic. It's like that one. So you need to keep on doing the second phase until you reach the third line. So the third line is again, see mountains as mountains. So this is for enlightened beings. Enlightened beings. So if a person is so-called done the job, okay lah, TV is TV lah, no cup is cup, no clock is clock. Yeah, well, you can say, wow, the place is so beautiful, but no attachment, no more attachment. Before we reach that level, everything else is still attachment. Everything else. That's why this attachment, we call it the 5 clinging aggregates. 5 clinging aggregates. We will definitely cling. Anything. A thought, a memory, a story. That's why I ask you don't read, because the mind will cling, right? Emotion, anything will cling. It's the habitual tendency of the mind to want to cling. So for example, if we do an experiment, if let's say we were to just do nothing, as in, some people think meditation, do nothing. They hear the instructions, do nothing. Some people, I give some instructions, they do nothing. What will happen to your mind? Can you have no thoughts at all? Sure, we have thoughts, right? The mind will cling on to the next strongest stimuli, any kind of thought. So these thoughts is like a gamble. It can be a good thoughts, can be a unwholesome thoughts. We call this habitual ripening of the habitual karmas. Ripening of habitual karmas. So it depends on what you do throughout the day or throughout your life. And if you want to depend on this do nothing, especially on the so-called last moments of our life, can be very dangerous also. We have this thing called death proximate karma. Somebody come and tell you only. You may think you have good thoughts. Somebody irritate you, then that's it. Gone. So you have nothing strong to rely on. It's a gamble. These good, bad karmas are gamble. These mundane, habitual karmas, gamble. So what we need to rely on is, there's this thing called the premium package. Premium package. So the ordinary package, very dangerous. So we have the premium package, which is, there's a samatha aspect of meditation. So if a person were to learn how to calm the mind, at least learn how to enter some kind of peaceful states, enjoy some peaceful states, that is the premium package. Premium package. But that's not good enough. Premium package. Then we have this thing called super deluxe package. Super deluxe package, which is to learn how to detach. Learn how to detach. So these are the different states of realization, from maybe stream entry all the way to full enlightenment. So for the premium package, if a person haven't realized anything, haven't have any insight or wisdom, for example, they do jhanas, for example, after they pass away, they may be reborn in the heavenly world, the Brahma worlds, heavenly worlds. But because they are used to enjoy and they don't follow the Eightfold Path, they don't put in effort, they don't progress, the good karmas very fast use up, even though they have long lifespan. Use up all the good karmas, then downgrade lah. So if all the good karmas use up, what's left is the bad karma, right? So go back down or even downgrade to the lower realms, hell, the ghosts, or animal realms. So a person might be like that. So that's the dangers of the premium package only. Yeah. So when we talk about the super deluxe package, we talk about learning how to let go, learning how to detach. So in both traditions, the Theravada and the Mahayana tradition, they have this analogy or the simile of the raft crossing to the other shore. Crossing to the other shore. So I think earlier on this afternoon I gave this example, right? Rowing the boat to the other shore. So we talk about the near shore, the shore that we're in is the samsaric world, the 5 clinging aggregates. This shore cannot be saved, right? Cannot be saved. It's our normal package. No matter how you clean up the beach, you still get full of nastiness, full of rubbish. So there's no way to save this shore, this samsaric, this 5 aggregates thing. So the Buddha's so-called solution is to go to the other shore. The other shore is free from even impermanence. So this one requires you to row the boat, even swim, use your hands and feet and row. Requires effort. So every time you generate the right thought, you wish maybe all beings well and happy, or think of impermanence, you are rowing once. You are rowing once. And every time you just, I stop thinking already lah. I let my mind autopilot. You're basically letting the raft or the boat get dragged around by the currents. So the currents is basically all the nonsense thoughts lah, all the random thoughts. So the currents will drag you all over the place and you cannot reach any kind of detachment. And so always put in the right thought, right? Keep rowing the boat. Okay, so this is an instructional thing. I don't want to be too lost in the theory. Maybe we start off with some guided sitting. So I made my point across, some of the theory, and we shall begin. So some people are a bit dozing off, so I can start the session now. Okay, so first, you find a comfortable sitting posture. You can use whatever posture, upgrade on a chair. Your chairs, you don't have to force yourself on the floor. So once you've found your comfortable posture, we're going to start off with feeling the sensations of the body. So this feeling of the sensations, we call it mindfulness of the 4 elements, the earth, fire, wind, water elements. Earth represents any hard or soft sensations, fire is hot and cold, wind is the fast, slow movements, and water is the moist or dry sensations. So the idea is not to control, to not deliberately generate the sensations, let it appear naturally. And whatever sensation appears, we make peace with them. So we're going to wish them well and happy. So this evidence, this mindfulness of the body, part of right mindfulness, and we need to generate the right thought for now. So we're going to wish it well and happy. That's part of the right thought. and the repetition, we call it right effort. And as long as you keep on turning the Dhamma wheel, the Eightfold Path, then one should be able to reduce craving. So if your mind gets calmed down, that means you're on the right track. That means the craving formations is reduced. So keep on rowing the boat, keep turning the Dhamma wheel until the mind settles to your current maximum level. So that means the rate of settling become negligible. Huh? Okay, so once the mind is relatively calm, then we take note of this baseline emotion. So in this baseline emotion, there's no samadhi yet, no insight, no nothing. It's a neutral state. So we're going to use it as a reference point. Okay, because currently we're just feeling the sensations within the body, so that is a restricted form of loving kindness. Huh? So now we're going to cultivate this boundless loving kindness. We're going to wish all beings in all directions well and happy, above, below, and all across all directions. Just a simple wish. Don't have to purposely push the mind. Don't need to exert in any direction. We let the mind extend naturally by itself. However far it wish to extend doesn't matter. The whole idea is not to create resistance and boundary. Huh? And in that widened sphere of attention, we are going to perceive all beings as the four elements. Okay, we're stunning the perception. We treat all beings as the four elements. So whatever sensation appear, we are going to wish all beings well and happy. New sensation appear, may all beings be well and happy. So this time the phrasing is to wish all beings, not just to one sensation. And these sensations can appear inside the body or outside, near or far, large area, small area, doesn't matter. Once you detect something, may all beings be well and happy. So you kind of keep turning the Dhamma wheel. Okay, for those who are still rowing the boat, if there is enough momentum or the conditions are right, then this loving kindness normally may lead to the first level of concentration. So if there is any increment of this pleasant emotion, let's say joy or happiness, compared to the neutral baseline emotion, and that would be one of the indicators. So regardless of the storm, no matter how turbulent, how calm, keep rowing the boat, keep on wishing all beings well and happy. Okay, once you're kind of familiarized of this state of mind, we are going to move on to the second sublime state. So we're going to wish, may all beings be free from suffering. So that is compassion. So using the non-discrimination approach again, all beings, whether they are rich or poor, healthy or sick, as long as they cling on to the elements, and that will result in their stress and suffering. So whenever we detect any sensation, that is also a condition for clinging and suffering. So we kind of reduce that by generating right thought. Every moment we need to wish, may all beings be free from suffering. So the idea is try not to get dragged into the suffering. It is all the daydreaming and the mini samsaras. Any sensation appear, may all beings be free from suffering. Okay, the idea of this routine is not to go into story making. Any planning and worrying, that is hindrance, restlessness and worry. In conventional setting, yes. In daily life, yes, we need to plan it to worry. Very draining, huh? So by this meditation, we are learning to recharge, not to drain. So refrain from story making as much as possible. Keep on wishing all beings be free from suffering. And use the sensations as the anchor. Use the element to stun the perception, prevent story making. Okay, for those who are still following, if your compassion can feel joyful or more joyful than the loving kindness, it's an indicator that this is the second level of concentration. So it's called concentrated compassion. So regardless of what you experience, keep on rowing the boat, keep on wishing all beings free from suffering. Okay, so in theory, for those who are like in this pleasant state, the second level of concentration has two emotions, joy and happiness together. If you cannot differentiate them, doesn't matter. You can differentiate them in the next sublime state. So in the third sublime state, now we're going to rejoice with all beings, appreciative joy, rejoice in accomplishments of all beings. So using the non-discrimination approach again, all beings, whether they are winners or losers, as long as they go through the process, they will gain some experience. Similarly, whenever we detect any sensation, we also gain some kind of experience. So when we detect a sensation, we can rejoice with all beings. New sensation appear, rejoice with all beings. And if all the conditions are right, you have the momentum, this appreciative joy may lead one to the third level of concentration, denoted by a different pleasant emotion, so we call that happiness. So there's no more joy, just happiness. And regardless of what you experience, keep on rowing the boat, keep on rejoicing with all beings. And once you have kind of familiarized a bit with that state of mind, you're moving to the fourth sublime state, which is equanimity. So equanimity is to achieve a balanced state of mind. So for this reflection, we are going to use karma. All beings are the owners of their karmas, and they are the heir to their karmas. So in short, we reap what we sow. And in this meditation, we are not going to speculate, we're not going to guess what we've done in the past. We're just going to observe the here and now evidence. So whatever sensation appear now have to have past causes. But we don't need to know the past causes. So we just observe the sensations. If they are pleasant sensations, that means these are good karmas ripening. If you experience any bad sensations, unpleasant sensations, and these are bad karmas ripening. And if it's a neutral sensation, then neutral karmas ripening. So basically, all you need to label is karmas ripening. Sensation appear, karmas ripening, sensation appear, karmas ripening. So no story making. I don't engage. In the past, I might have done certain good or bad action. And you create your own movies already. So no AI generated story, no story making. Come back to the right reflection, karma's ripening. If you start to experience a bit like alert or a refreshing kind of experience, there is no joy or happy emotions, we call that equanimity. Huh? The fourth sublime state will lead to the fourth level of concentration, which is denoted by the emotion of equanimity only. And regardless of what you experience, they just label karma as ripening. Okay, so this so-called premium package is to temporarily boost the mindfulness and recharge the mindfulness, just like recharging your battery of your phone so that you can use the phone, right? So now we're going to so-called use the battery wisely. What are we going to spend this energy on is to investigate the impermanent nature of the five aggregates. So this karma is ripening, or we call this karmic formations, is the same as the fourth aggregate, mental formations. Like you kind of let your mind alone, whatever nice or unpleasant sensations, you don't have a choice, right? It's kind of being brought towards you, brought to your attention. So these are karmas, old karmas ripening. So that's the fourth aggregate. And we can use it to label impermanence. So the four element sensations is the first aggregate, and the second aggregate is the feelings aggregate, where they find it pleasant, unpleasant, neutral. The third aggregate is all the labels you give to that object, called perception. The fourth aggregate we've covered, the karmic formations. And the fifth aggregate is your consciousness, basically whatever that comes in your mind, comes to your attention. So in the six kinds of consciousness, your eye, ear, nose, tongue, eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind. Yeah? So these are six kinds of consciousness. So if I'm speaking, then probably you're hearing my voice, and that's your ear consciousness. But if I stop speaking, where is your attention now? So every moment you kind of play like a hide and seek game. Where's your attention now? Where's your attention now? Where's your attention now? Observe how it arises and passes away. No controlling. Do not deliberately direct. Do not fixate it anywhere. Let it kind of be open, be as natural as possible. Let it freestyle. And the idea is to see things as they really are, not to see things as you want it to be. So the only thing you need to note or label is impermanence, or any word or phrase associated with impermanence. You can use rising and falling, birth and death, anicca, change, inconstant, and just pick a favorite. So be like the GPS tracker. Every moment where your mind goes, you know, arising and passing. So as long as you generate the right thought, this thought of impermanence, and there will be some distance being covered. You wrote about some distance covered, some detachment. And if you want, you can use a bit of assistance in the investigation. So you may use one aggregate at a time. For instance, you can investigate a form aggregate, four elements. So first question you can ask, are the four elements by itself without you controlling, without you interfering? Are they permanent or impermanent? Are they always the same sensations, or are they always different, always changing? So that's the first question. So everything has to be evidence-based, your own personal evidence, not to over-theorize. Okay, then the second question you can ask yourself, do you think that these elements are truly yours, or truly you or yours? If it is truly you or yours, you should have total control over these elements. If let's say you find this place too cold, I want to feel warm forever, you can make a wish. If it is truly yours. Or if it's too cold, too hot, then you can tell yourself, I want to be cool forever. And the third question, if you try to manipulate and try to control the elements, will there be stress and suffering? Compared to not controlling, will there be stress and suffering? So the example I always like to give is the Animal Planet kind of documentary, right? So maybe in the past, the host will normally just stand aside and just make some verbal comments, commentate from afar, and let the animal kind of roam about its habitat. So the mind or the aggregates, they observe, just let it be by itself. But the modern day hosts nowadays, they wrestle with the animal. So a lot of times they get beaten, get stung, and get beaten or injured. So the same thing, if you try to wrestle with the aggregates, wrestle with the elements, will there be tension, stress, and suffering? So you can do for the same for the other aggregates of feelings. Is defined as pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral feelings. So the first question, are these feelings permanent or impermanent by themselves? Are you always forever pleasant or forever unpleasant or forever neutral? And the second question you can ask is, are these feelings truly you or yours? If it is truly yours to control, you should have total control the feelings. You can say, okay, I want it to be pleasant forever. No painful feelings at all. No aching, no pains, no cramps, no numbness, no nothing. Total pleasant feelings. So that's what we all want, right? And if you try to control or try to implement this wish, will there be suffering and stress? Okay, then the third aggregate is the perception. So if you want to use the perception aggregate, you can ask yourself, are the perceptions basically means your memory. Based on your memory, you try to identify the object. So these perceptions and memories, are they permanent or impermanent? And the second question, are these perception and memories truly self, truly yours? If they are truly self, then you should have total control of your memories. You can tell yourself, don't lose any memory at all. Total recollection of everything. And the third question, if you try to implement that, you try to recall something that you're hazy or have forgotten, will it cause any stress and suffering? Okay, then the fourth aggregate is called karmic formations. So that's very obvious, every moment always changing. So you can use that. Three questions to ask yourself. Are these formations permanent or impermanent? And the second question, are these karmic formations, are they truly self? If it is truly self, then you should have total control of the formation. You can ask it to freeze. Don't keep forming, just stay still. So in Chinese, the mental formation is called xing, volatility, movement. So some meditators always tell wish that the mind to be still. So if you want your formations to be still, will it create any stress and suffering? Is it meant to be still in the first place? Okay, then the fifth aggregate is the consciousness. So that's the awareness with your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind. So basically that's the so-called kind of knowing, or the quality of knowing. So besides the location and coordinates, by using eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind, there's also a different quality to the consciousness. So that's like a bit towards the Abhidhamma. Your consciousness, is it permanent or impermanent in terms of location and quality? Is it forever an angry mind or forever a greedy mind, forever still and calm mind? And the second question, is consciousness truly self, truly yours? If they are truly self, then you should have total control over this consciousness. You can will your consciousness to be, I don't know, peaceful forever. No stress at all, peaceful forever. So that's what meditators want. Whatever you see, hear, smell, think, taste, and touch, very peaceful, no stress, no reaction. Like Arahant like that. So if it can be done like that, then everyone can get enlightened straight away. Really. So if you try to do that, will there be any stress or suffering? Okay, so that's one way to kind of keep the mind awake. But if you want constant kind of detachment, you can just stick to one, impermanence. Don't have to use this logical deduction process. Okay, so you all have sat for slightly more than an hour, I think. So whenever you're ready, you can slowly come out of the formal meditation. Informally, still can keep reflecting on impermanence.